This is from one small step. The following Saturday, Fish gets up early. It's been hot overnight, and the air in the kitchen is sticky as hell. On the bench, he's laid out an old exercise book he found in the bottom drawer, pages curled and crisped like phyllo pastry. In it was Kay's scribbled recipe for pineapple heaven. He wipes the sweat from his neck and looks up at the clock. They'll be arriving in 3 hours. Hopefully enough time for the mousse to set. He assembles all the ingredients on the bench and finds a cake tin in the cupboard next to the oven. He cuts the Swiss roll into slices, arranges them in the bottom of the cake tin, and pours pineapple juice over the top. He licks the sugar from his fingers one by one, then wipes them on his apron. Next, he starts on the mousse, mixing a packet of bright yellow jelly crystals with evaporated milk, watching intently as it thickens and froths. Finally, he adds a can of crushed pineapple, then pours it all over the sodden Swiss roll base. For decoration, he scatters a few glacé cherries on top. They float for a second before the soggy mousse sucks them down like quicksand. He looks at the clock again. 2 hours for it to set. 2 hours till they arrive. He wonders if Rick will come this time. He hasn't been back once since Kay's funeral. Too many memories, probably. Too hard to see the place without her in it. Maybe he'll make an effort for his birthday, though. If he does, he'll be pretty surprised to see that his old man started cooking, that he's made his favourite dessert, no less. He probably won't remember the whole moon landing thing. He was just a little tacker after all. Fish remembers it like it was yesterday. How he came home from work at lunchtime and the three of them watched the grainy footage on their rented black and white telly. He can picture Kay sitting cross-legged on the floor with Rick on her lap, pointing at the screen and whispering in his ear. And then suddenly Fish remembers the story behind the name of the dessert, how excited Kay was about the whole moon landing thing and how she wanted to make sure that Rick would remember it, even though he was only 3. For about a week before, she kept asking him what the astronauts were going to the moon in, and he'd say, Apollo 11, Apollo 11, over and over like a trained parrot. But he was so little, he got it all mangled, and Kay said it sounded like pineapple heaven, which she thought was adorable. So she said she'd invent a special dessert for the moon landing and call it pineapple heaven. Fish decides he'll tell Rick the story and see if he remembers. Maybe he will once he hears it. Maybe it's buried in his memory somewhere and he just needs something to bring it back. At 11, the front doorbell rings. Through the frosted glass panels, Fish makes out the twins and Annie. And then he sees Rick's silhouette behind them. He pushes himself up from the stool, his hip joints stiff as secateurs. The pineapple heaven is in the fridge. He's worried it hasn't had time to set yet. Maybe, while they're waiting, he can take out the old photo albums to show Annie and the girls. Maybe he'll show Rick the first photo he took of him when he was just a tiny baby, cradled in Kay's arms. Her frizzy peroxide blonde hair piled up high in that crazy beehive she had back then. Maybe he'll tell Rick how much Kay loved becoming a mum, how she was always singing to him in her silly, squeaky voice, how when he couldn't sleep on hot evenings, she'd take him to the beach and sit in the shallow water to cool him down. Fish pulls a tea towel from the hook and wipes the sweat from the back of his neck. He takes a step down the hallway, his knee clicking like a ratchet. "Righto," he says, his eyes on the blurred outline of Rick's head through the dimpled glass of the door. That's one small step for man. That was one small step